Hello and welcome to Artsakh Public Television. India is considered one of the emerging superpowers in the world. India, which has been in a prolonged conflict with nearby Pakistan over the Kashmir region, has the fourth strongest army in the world. When Turkey and Azerbaijan launched a full-scale military attack on Nagorno-Karabakh, Indians on social media expressed their solidarity with Armenians. And following the advancement of the Azerbaijani armed forces in the sovereign territory of the Republic of Armenia, official New Delhi made a statement supporting the territorial integrity of Armenia and calling Azerbaijan to pull back its forces immediately. What's the role of India in the global security system, and how do they see the future of Armenia-India relations? My guest today is Dr. Gaurav Tyagi from the Special Center for National Security Studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University. Stay tuned. Mr. Tyagi, I thank you very much for joining me from New Delhi.
Thank you, Ms. Kavalyan, and thanks Artsakh TV for inviting me for this interview.
As a rising economic powerhouse and nuclear armed state, India has emerged as an important regional player, but it is also tackling huge economic, social and environmental problems. Currently, India faces the second wave of the global pandemic. How does India see its role in the global security architecture?
Yes, so as you have already mentioned that India is the world's largest democracy, and in terms of GDP, it's the sixth largest. And India has about 51 startups that have acquired the status of unicorn. We have a thriving IT industry, a good agriculture export, and a large number of pools of doctors, engineers, and scientists. India has served as a global pharmacy, producing drugs on a mass scale, and in fact, making them available at a bargain basement price, especially to the developing world. For example, India supplies the bulk of world's aid drug. And as recently as now, India has supplied COVID-19 vaccines to 95 countries. It's true that we are battling the second wave of COVID, but now the cases are coming down and we are improving. So that was about the soft power of India. India has the, in fact, world's fourth strongest armed forces under a strong civilian leadership. India has the third largest country based on defense spending. And the growing footprints of India at a global high table can be ascertained with the fact that US has changed the terminology from Asia-Pacific to Indo-Pacific region. Although there have been skirmishes at the Indian borders with our neighboring nations, including Pakistan and China, but they are being dealt appropriately and proportionally. India didn't support One Belt, One Road initiative that is pioneered by Beijing, as India perceived it as a direct attack on the sovereignty and integrity of India. India forms an important part of Quad, and our recent summit also held in the month of March. It's the informal strategic dialogue between India, US, Japan, and Australia, and with the shared objective to support a free, open, and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. So far, India has taken part in about 49 peacekeeping missions under the aegis of United Nations, and with a total contribution exceeding 180,000 troops and significant number of police personnel being deployed. So that's how India sees itself in the architecture of global security. That's what I believe.
India is a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. Given the experience of your country, how would you assess the role of the UN Security Council in maintaining peace and security in the world?
In my opinion, India has always been the advocate of solving the issues amicably and through diplomatic channels. The United Nations Security Council, to an extent, has been able to maintain peace and security in the world, but changing global world order into a multipolar world demand revamping the Security Council itself. With more representation from countries like India, Germany, Japan, and Brazil. The narrow representation at UN Security Council is a direct challenge to the credibility of Security Council. And in fact, absence of world's largest democracy from United Nations Security Council may sound absurd and ridiculous, but yes, it is a reality. As I already told earlier, that India has taken part in many of the peacekeeping missions and have contributed enormously in the number of troops and police personnel. So I think India should get what it's due from so many years. It should be entered as a permanent member to the United Nations Security Council along with other nations.
Turkey's expansionism is on the rise. President Erdogan at the UN General Assembly said that Kashmir is a burning issue that threatens the stability in the region. Does India see threats coming from the Turkey-Pakistan alliance over Kashmir? In other words, do you find possible the Karabakh scenario of taking lands with force, including the use of mercenaries in the case of Kashmir?
Yeah, very good question. So Turkey has supported Pakistan on Kashmir issue to the extent of providing material support in fact various wars with India. Therefore, the diplomatic support that was provided by Ankara to Islamabad at various international fora, including United Nations General Assembly in 2019 on the special status of Jammu and Kashmir that was revoked by India, was not surprising for us at all. In fact, on the sidelines of UNGA, Indian PM met President of Armenia and Cyprus to give a befitting reply to Ankara for meddling into the internal issues of India. So in my opinion, Turkey view Sunni Muslim nation Pakistan as a pilot project, as a staging area in the ongoing competition of primacy within the Muslim world. And for Pakistan, there are two-pronged benefits for it. First, it strengthens the already established bonhomie between Ankara and Islamabad at a time when the Gulf states are tilting towards India because of its huge economic potentials that we have right now. Secondly, it allows Pakistan, which was carved out of India in 1947, to relinquish the common heritage of Indian civilization by distorting history and in fact informing Islamic values by glorifying Ottoman Turkish culture. So we know that Turkey has currently, Turkey deployed its drone and other proliferative attacks in Karabakh against Armenia. And there have been reports, and in fact, seeing the newfound bonhomie between Ankara and Islamabad, Ankara might provide funding to Pak-based terror organizations. That's what we are, getting some reports about it. And India has also recovered several drones and other arms given by Ankara to Islamabad on our side of LAC that being used by terrorists and Pakistani army. So what Turkey wants to do is tap into the emotive appeal of what I believe of Ottoman Empire that bring back the memory of a grandeur of Muslim civilization. And Turkey can create such appeal in Pakistan very easily because of emotional bond that Muslims of Indian subcontinent had at that point of Khilafat movement. And moreover, what I believe is that Pakistan's identity crisis and its tilt towards pan-Islamic sentiment play well with the Erdogan's new Ottomanism. But over and above that, we know that historically the real value and the real source and strength of Turkish model have been in anchoring in the Western's values and democracy above all. But by asserting itself as an Islamic and Ottoman identity, I believe that Ankara has rattled every country in the region. And a country that itself has been isolated, I think it can do very little to validate the concerns and anxieties of Islamabad at the international level. That's what I believe.
In March, the Indian ambassador to Iran announced that India is planning on connecting the Chabahar port of Iran and the Indian Ocean with Eurasia and Helsinki through the territory of Armenia, creating an international north-south transport corridor. How actual is this project in India today, given the fact that this project is also being seen as New Delhi's counterweight to Beijing's One Belt, One Road initiative?
I believe that this international north-south transport corridor is very, very important from India's point of view, and it can be New Delhi's answers to China's One Belt and One Road initiative. And if you see the recent Suez Canal blockage that was in the news recently, it costed global economy around $9 billion. And it, in fact, has amplified the optimistic outlook towards the international north-south transport corridor, which as a cheaper and faster alternative multimodal transit corridor. It will reduce the time by about 40% and reduce the cost by about 30%. So this INSTC connects India with Central Asia, Russia, and it also has the potential to extend up to Baltic, Arctic, and Nordic regions also, thereby increasing the trade with these countries multifold. It also has the potential to transform the economies of country along the corridor into specialized manufacturing, logistic, and transit hubs. That's what I believe. And in fact, as you told that India has also pitched for Chabahar port in Iran, which is heavily funded by India to be included in INSTC, and the Indian ambassador to Iran, Mr. Gaddam Dharmendra, announced that India is planning on connecting the Chahabad port and the Indian Ocean with Eurasia and Helsinki through the territory of Armenia. That's, I believe, would be very important for both the nations, India as well as Armenia, because the corridor that is being developed will be a hub for economic activity. It will be prosperous for both the countries and all the countries that will be a part of it. And it will create an international corridor. And over and above that, New Delhi is planning to make Chahabad port the most important and busiest port in the region. So I believe it is an answer to the China's One Belt and One Road initiative, and various countries, including Armenia, is at heart of it. And I believe, and I'm very much hopeful that with the involvement of like-minded nations, it will bear its fruits in coming times.
Experts think that Armenian-India relations should move beyond the cultural and scientific cooperation into the security and political realm. There were reports in media in 2020 that Armenia and India signed a $40 million defense deal for sale of 4 Swati weapon locating radar stations. How the prospects of India-Armenia relations are seen in New Delhi?
So Indian-Armenian relations goes back till 149 BC. That's what I know, as per some of the literary evidences. And in fact, Thomas Tana is said to be the first Armenian to have landed on the Malabar coast in 780 AD. So we get along since ancient time. And it was even before the Dutch and English appeared in India. In fact, Indian classical singer Gohar Khan, the first to be recorded on gramophone in 1902, was of the Armenian origin. And there are various Armenian communities that are living in India, in Calcutta, Mumbai, Delhi, Agra, and Chennai. And there are various Armenian churches and cemeteries in these places. In fact, the Holy Church of Nazareth was erected in 1707, and it celebrated its 250th anniversary in 1957. And there have been, over and above on the issue of high-level meetings, there have been 3 presidential-level visits from Armenia to India and 3 visits at the level of foreign minister. Also, the Secretary of National Security Council of Armenia visited India in March 2011, and vice versa, the Vice President and Chairman of Rajya Sabha led a parliamentary delegation to Armenia in October 2005. India trade with Armenia is steadily increasing. Now, currently, it stood at around $67-68 million, and total export to the Armenia have increased 3-fold. And you have mentioned correctly, India has started the process of delivering Swati weapon locating radars to Armenia that it had gone for $40 million in March 2020. So this is the extent of cooperation at higher level. So we can further increase this kind of cooperation with Armenian counterparts related to intelligence agencies, related to political advances, as well as military advances. That is what I believe. And over and above that, in my opinion, people-to-people contact should also increase. The cordiality between India and Armenian population was evident from the social media trends during the war between Armenia and Azerbaijan. What I believe is that there should be more cultural exchanges between 2 countries. And as we know that New Delhi is in talk with Tbilisi for a direct flight from India to Georgia, what I believe is that similar kind of non-stop flight should be there between India and Armenia, so that we can have more people from both this country visiting each other, understanding each other. And in fact, I believe when this COVID situation is over, I would personally like to visit Armenia on my holidays along with my family. That's the extent of Indian-Armenian relations we need to have.
Mr. Tyagi, I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Tish. Thank you, Ms. Gaurav, as well as Artsakh TV for hosting me. It was really a pleasure.